I find the easiest thing to do is to start with these slip pockets because they're pretty easy to whip together pretty quickly. So you're going to take your top lining, whichever fabric that you want to see in the finished product, put it onto one of your linings. And then we're just going to clip all the way across and then take it to the sewing machine and sew 1/4 inch all the way down. I have got my stitch length at a 3, and then I've got both panels. We're just going to be using 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now that we have got both of our slip pockets done and sewed down, we're going to open them up, and then we're going to press one behind the other. And I'm just going to use a couple of clips just to kind of hold them in place. Then we're going to take them to the sewing machine and we are going to top stitch across the top using a 4 stitch length, 1/8 of an inch away from the very top. Alright, so I've got my 4 stitch length. I'm just going to go 1/8 of an inch across both of my slip pocket tops. Alright, now that we have got our slip pockets all top stitched, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our main wall pieces, our lining main wall pieces. We're going to take one of them and one of our slip pockets. I'm going to line them across the bottom, nice and flush. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clip around just the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch, starting here and back stitching, coming down, across, back up, and back stitching. Alright, also a 4 stitch length. And I'm just going to back stitch right here, and you're going 1/8 of an inch around. Now that our slip pockets are attached to our main wall panel, next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to mark our slip pocket so that we can make the actual pockets. First thing we're going to do is we're going to measure 4 3/4 on our left side, and make sure that you get some sort of marking tool that either wipes off or will blend in with your thread, or some way that you won't be able to see this. So I've got my first mark. I'm only marking up to the top of the slip pocket. My next mark is going to be 9 3/4. 9 3/4 from the edge. And then we're going to mark again 4 3/4 from the right side. Then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew these down. Do that to both of your panels. Alright, I'm going to start in the middle and then I kind of work my way out. So I'm going to start right up at the top, and we are going to hang on to our threads when we start to sew so that we can pull the thread that's on the top towards the bottom so that you don't see your threads on the outside. I have got my stitch length at a 4. I'm going to make a few stitches and then I'm going to come back and back stitch and then forward stitch again and do the same thing at the bottom. And I'm going to come over to this one. Same thing. Forward stitch a few stitches, go back, and forward again. Alright, now that we've got all of our slip pockets ready to go, the next thing that I like to do is turn it over, and then I'm going to pull the thread towards the back. That's why we hung onto our thread when we first got started. And you could go ahead and just burn this, it's up to you. But I like to go and make knots in the back because the front, sometimes you see the stress on that one thread right there. If you don't tie it and you just burn it, that could pop out. So that's why I like to go on the back and just kind of pull it through and then make a knot on the back. This is kind of extra, but it's up to you if it's something that you want to put a little extra effort into, because you know slip pockets are pulled on quite a bit, so it's just up to you. I'm going to finish this up and then I'm going to go ahead and sew the pockets on my other one, and then we will go to the next step. Alright, we have got all of our slip pockets sewn in place, so we should have 4 on one side and then 4 on our other. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set this aside. We're going to grab our 11-inch zipper, a zip pull, our 2 zipper tabs, our 2 outer linings, and our 2 inner linings. We're going to go ahead and put together our center zipper pocket. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our zipper on our zipper tape, and then we're going to grab one of our zipper tabs, fold it in half, open it up, press each side to the center, kind of like you're making a bias tape. So it'll be folded in like that, and then fold it in on itself. We're going to do this and put this on the ends of both ends of our zipper. Just like that. We're going to take them to the sewing machine. We're going to do the same thing to the other zipper tab. And then we're going to put it on the other end of our zipper. Make sure that you have your zipper on before you move to the next step. We're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew our zipper tabs on. Alright, I have changed my stitch length to a 3, and then I am just going to sew across the edge, closing my zipper tab onto my zipper. And I'm also back stitching when I get to my zipper, because I don't want my zipper tab to open back up when I trim it down. Alright, now we're going to trim our zipper down. We're just going to trim that zipper tab so that it's flush with our zipper, just like that. Next thing that I'm going to do, just kind of for preparation's sake, I'm going to fold my zipper in half, and then on each side of my zipper, I'm going to make a little snip. And then I'm going to grab my lighter. I've seen a lot of people lately complaining that their zippers are falling apart, and I think it's because of the whole notches thing. Your zipper is nylon. You can go ahead and burn those notches so that they don't unravel. So I'm going to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the table and I'm going to start matching up my outer and inner lining pieces. Now we're going to take our zipper and we're going to grab our outer panel. I went ahead and I made a center notch in it. I kind of went a little crazy with that one. I'm going to match up right side to right side of my zipper, and I'm just going to kind of clip all the way across, making my zipper and my outer lining connected. Then after those are connected, I'm going to grab my lining. I also made a center notch on that one. I'm going to add these two together. So my lining is wrong side of my zipper to the right side of my fabric. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew at 1/4 of an inch all the way down so that my outer and lining are together with my zipper. Alright, so I've got my stitch length at a 3. Now, after I get that done, I'm going to cut all of my threads, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to top stitch. So I've got my stitch length to a 4 now. I'm going to open this up, press both of my lining and my outer lining away from my zipper, and then I'm just going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch down. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab our other outer and our center notch and put them right side to right side. And we're going to clip all the way across. We're going to turn it around. We're going to put the lining right side to the wrong side of our zipper and make our little zipper sandwich. Then we're going to do just like we just did and sew 1/4 of an inch all the way down, pull both fabrics away, and top stitch. So let's go do that. Back to a 3 stitch length. Alright, now we're going to pull our outer away and our lining away so they're both away from our zipper. We're going to extend our stitch length to a 4, making sure that you're pulling that fabric away from your zipper. And then you're just stitching 1/8 of an inch all the way down. Alright, now let's go back to the sewing machine so I can show you the next step. It is not what you think, so don't zoom ahead and close this zipper pouch up like you think it should be. Let's go to the table so I can show you how we're going to close this up. Alright, so we have got our outers and our lining top stitched away from our zipper. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull this top up and just kind of press it out of the way. This is when you're going to need your 1/4 inch double-sided tape. We're going to put it along the bottom like this, and then we're going to do that on the other side. So flip that top up. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the paper from the sticky part. And it doesn't like to do that on cotton. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this up 1/4 inch. So right where that tape ends, we're going to fold it over like so. Okay, next thing you could have done was put 1/4 inch double-sided tape along here, but I find that sometimes I might have made like a little bit extra here and not over here or something like that. So what I like to do is take it, fold it over, and match it up, because you're really going to want the bottoms to match up. And then you just fold it under 1/4 inch or wherever it matches up with the bottom of your lining. That's what you're really more or less worried about, so that the bottoms match up. Some people's 1/4 inch isn't my 1/4 inch, or, you know, I think I'm doing 1/4 inch and I'm not. You know how it is. Don't act like I'm the only one. Alright, we're going to take this paper off and do the same thing. We're going to fold it over as best we can 1/4 inch, and it should want to naturally fall at that 1/4 inch. Take the top, fold it under. Next thing we're going to do, now that we've got both of our bottoms done, we're going to take the sides and we're going to meet those up. And I'm going to clip the sides together. Then I'm going to go to my other side and do the same thing, matching them up and clipping them. Then I'm going to go back and clip the bottoms together. All 4 of those layers, I'm just going to clip them together so that they're going to be basically one piece. Oops. Alright, it should look like that. What we're going to do is we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to start here. I'm going to make sure that I back stitch really well. I'm going to come down, across, and back up. It does get kind of thick right here, but because we did it the way that we did it, there will be no seam on the inside. You know how you do a bag and you pull the lining out and you fold it in 1/4 inch, and you top stitch, and you stick it back in, and you see the seam? Oh, that's so annoying. So for this particular bag, we can do this and make it so that there's no seam on the inside. Let's go to the sewing machine and base stitch this closed. Alright, so I have got my stitch length at a 4. I'm just going at 1/8 of an inch around the edge. Alright, we have got our zipper pocket all done. Next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab both of our wall panels with our slip pockets, and what we're going to do is we're going to put, and right now it doesn't matter which side the zipper is facing, it's going to go in the right direction in a little bit, and I'll show you guys how to do that. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to measure 2 1/4 down and then place your zipper pocket, and I'm going to clip them together. You could go ahead and base stitch these two together if you would like, if that would make you feel more comfortable. but I'm going to go ahead and just clip them together. Then I'm going to grab my other wall panel and I'm going to put it right side to the right side of my zipper, and we're going to be adding them all together. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch down the side to connect all of these together. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so I went ahead and sewed it at 1/4 of an inch all the way on that side so that everything is connected on that one side. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure 2 1/4 of an inch down. We're going to take this and pull it to the other side. And then I'm going to clip those two together just like I did the other side. Now I'm going to take my other panel, right side to right side, and join them together like I did the other side. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew it 1/4 of an inch down the side so that it should look like this, so your zipper is nice and in the middle. Alright, so both of my wall panels are connected to my zipper, my center zipper panel. Next thing that we're going to do, we have 4 marks. So we've got our 2 side marks here, and then where our center slip pocket that we made right here, that's our other 2 marks. You need these 4 marks on a lot of your pieces so that we can match things up. The next thing that you're going to need is your main panel piece. We're going to fold that in half. We're going to find the center of the top, the center of the bottom, and then the center of both sides. Alright, now that we have our 4 marks, we know where everything needs to go. So I'm going to take my center. We are working on the very bottom, not the very top. We're going to connect, so you're going to have your 10 inches this way, 12 inches this way. Your 12 inches in length is going to match your side marks. The 10-inch clips are going to match your front and your back. So what we're going to do is we're going to start clipping, and I'm just going to use a couple of clips and then kind of match up all of the marks and then go back and clip all the way around. You're going to want this line to go in as you're clipping it, so kind of not out but in, if that makes any sense at all. Now I'm going to take my scissors and just kind of clip into my 1/8 of an inch top stitching or base stitching, and I'm just going to kind of clip them together. Clipping your wall will actually help it lay nice and flat so that you can match up your main panel to your wall panel on the bottom better. And if it doesn't fit snugly, this is also our lining, and I kind of meant for it to be a little bit bigger around the bottom because you're not going to see this, and 2, the way that we sew it, it tends to even itself out anyway. Alright, we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew all the way around at 1/2 inch. This is about the only 1/2 inch we're going to do. Alright, so this is how we're going to sew it. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so at 1/2 inch, if you need to pre-mark this on your main panel, you could beforehand. I'm just going to kind of follow my mark here. I've got my stitch length to a 3, and I'm just going to go all the way around. Alright, so our lining is all done. When we get to the last step and we insert our lining into our wall, I'm going to show you how you can put it in so that when you're looking into your bag, your zipper opens to the right, closes to the left. That way it'll look like it's supposed to.